Welcome to This Won't Last podcast. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Ryan B. Online, and we've got P. Breezy
Hello.
right here next to me. Just going to be the two of us today. So thank you for joining us. Today's episode is sponsored by Twisted Tea. No, it's not. So we're just decided to get together because we didn't get together over the holidays. D. Easy could not join us today, but he will probably be with us soon. So if you miss him, don't worry, he's coming back with a brand new surname to his to add, no doubt. So today we're gonna touch on a few things, go over some quick news, and we're gonna talk about two bits of media that we've watched, rather large bits of media. One that we loved, and one that we were just flat out disappointed by. Paul a little bit more so than me, I think, but I was not impressed with it either. Going to talk about The Mandalorian and that wonderful, gorgeous last episode that it was. Cherry on the top to a very good season. Few lows here and there, but not really all that low. So really, it was an A+ season, and that last episode was A++. I don't know if you agree on that, but we'll go into it a little bit more in detail later. And then the other one we're going to touch on is the Wonder Woman 84. Came out on streaming, I guess, and in theaters. We didn't see it in theaters. We both have HBO Max, so we went ahead and watched it. And
You'll see.
yeah, we'll talk about it later. First up, some news. Paul, what's in the news?
So here's something I never thought I would say in 2020, but you know what? That's how 2020 is going.
Mm-hmm.
Former NBA player Baron Davis and former rapper Master P are in talks with Adidas to purchase the Reebok brand for $2.4 billion. Yeah, with a B.
With a B. That's a lot of zeros.
Yeah. Now, if they bought it, that would make Reebok the first black-owned major shoe label. That being said, I don't know where they're getting the money for it. Together, they have a combined net worth of around $260 million. Don't get me wrong, Master P has kept busy since the No Limit days. And apparently so has Baron Davis. He's been out there. They've both been running businesses and making money since then. But that ain't $2.4 billion. I mean, a hell of a discount because I think Adidas bought it in a few years ago for like $3.4 billion. But they've kind of run into the ground and it's just not selling. Like it's turned into not even a dad brand. Like they redid the label and it just hasn't done anything. Like they tried to go for like a different market of like people for workout, and it just didn't work. Like I don't know what the hell they were thinking. Like it's nothing. They lost the Under Armour crowd. They didn't get the Nike and Jordan crowd. They're just there.
I mean, to be completely honest with you, I mean, I'm not really a shoe head by any means. But I've never really gotten into Reeboks all that much. They were never like the big brand. Always Nikes, Adidas because in my day it was because of corn.
I memean, Reebok did a good job for a while of like bringing in hip hop and bringing in different parts of the culture. Like again, they were the ones that made the Voltron shoes.
Yeah,
had one for each different cat. Jay-Z had his own shoe. Like they did different things like that, and they just kind of got it. Like, and that's when they were really successful. Then Adidas bought them, and then they just stopped doing that.
Well, I mean, at that point, if they're not going to do it under their own name, I guess why do that from a shoe company standpoint? I suppose, but at the same time, you look at a company like just as an example, something we were big fans of is Marvel getting bought out by Disney. They still make films under the Marvel banner, and they still say it's Marvel Films. They just collect the money from it, So why wouldn't they do the exact same thing? I don't know. I guess because it's a different business model, I suppose. Like you really need your name out there for a shoe company to be successful.
Yeah, I mean, Adidas had a nice bounce back, but even they've been floating weird because last 5 years in particular, obviously Nike and Jordan have dominated. Under Armour has become a major player,
Huge, yeah.
And I forget the brand, but there's this Chinese shoe brand that's become really huge. It started with D Wade. He had his own shoe line, nice. And now Jimmy Butler, a bunch of other NBA players have their own shoes from them. and they get a lot bigger part of the cut. And as far as I can tell, still quality shoes are still out there. I mean, they're not made any less. It's still made by the same 7-year-olds that make Jordans.
Exactly.
Like so.
And don't get me wrong, I love a nice pair of New Balances every now and again, but
But yeah, I mean, honestly, Adidas has the opportunity to make some noise if this does happen, where they could again be black owned and go and really dig into the culture and like make it more about more independent artists or different parts of the black culture. I mean, just making kind of digging into that, being a little more niche than Jordan is.
Yeah, and his shoes were always about the brand and selling and this and that and the other. It could be an interesting opportunity for them to make interesting shoes and things like that. Because like I said, I'm not really a sneakerhead, but when I see a cool pair of shoes, I really fucking like them. Like, got myself a pair of Lightning shoes that have light up laces. Got myself a couple different dress shoes and whatnot. I got myself a pair of Kool-Aid shoes. Maybe I should put some of that on the Instagram.
Go for it.
Yeah, we'll see. But and a bright new future for them, I suppose. Still a little bit curious as to how they're getting the money together. Like you said, must be a larger group.
Yeah, I read a couple articles, and I could not find any information about who they're working with.
Yeah. 260 million. Add a 1 and 2 zeros in front of that, and you got yourself a deal. Well, see how that works out for them, I suppose.
I mean, fingers crossed. I mean, it'd be cool. Be something different again, but whatever, man. If it happens, it happens. I don't see Reebok like taking the crown away anytime soon.
Yeah. They ain't gonna make us say, nah. So, next on the docket, we've got a little news about Warner Brothers, our favorite company. They've revealed some big plans, some rather large, grandiose plans for their cinematic universe as far as DC is concerned. They intend to release as many as 4 superhero movies in theaters each year and up to 2 on HBO Max streaming in 2022. Now, superhero. What does that really mean?
Well, and that was verbiage they used.
Yeah.
So that could really just be like a Brightburn type scenario. It could be a different thing. It could be like if they buy a different universe.
Yep.
I don't know. So like they were pretty vague on that, which I mean would make sense because 6 DC movies a year.
Yeah.
Plus their series, because that's not counting like Peacemaker and like the Batman spinoff they're gonna do. Like that's not counting the TV series. It's gonna be like just straight up movies. What the are you gonna do? Like, are you Lifetime? You just start charting out a movie every 3 weeks?
Hallmark.
Jesus. Like even Marvel can't do that. They got all the money to do it with. Mm-hmm. Like just because you can doesn't mean you should, Playboy.
They actually produce quality though. That seems like a little bit on the ridiculous side. My question is like, okay, say if they decide to do a Watchmen reboot or they want to do a Constantine film, like is that going to be part of that superhero thing?
I'm gonna guess so because knowing them, they're probably gonna count very loosely as just pretty much like comic books.
Yeah, they've been kicking around the idea of they've been kicking the can down the road of Justice League Dark for a very long time now, and they got a lot of stuff in place for that.
Well, like I said, I think now that would be something that they would probably do on a lower scale for HBO Max.
Yeah.
Just like if they thought about down the road bringing back Constantine, which more and more I hear that it's a possibility, but doing it with Keanu still should be very, very interesting.
Yeah.
I would still much prefer your boy from the show, but
it's Matt Ryan.
Sounds no. Matt something. It definitely sounds right, but yeah, he's a perfect Constantine. Like he does it very, very well.
He did. He was one of my favorite parts of that whole thing, and even bringing him in on Legends of Tomorrow, I think that was like a good move, a good choice to have him come in, so that you get the people who did like that show, and I think there were a lot of people who liked that show. And B, you get to bring on an actor who's already established his character. Like, he's already even if you go beyond his favorite, his favoritism in the fans' eyes, it takes a while sometimes for these characters to develop on these shows. Like, and you can watch it, especially in some of the younger actors, where like they really struggle to do anything with what they're given. Whereas this guy can come on there and just blah.
Oh yeah, he has that fucking swagger.
Yeah.
Like, he walks in like he doesn't give a fuck if you understand what he's doing anyways. Just that full like fucking British swag that just doesn't give a fuck.
Yep.
I love it.
It is Matt Ryan.
All right, there you go.
Quarterback Matt Ryan. Is he quarterback? Yeah.
Matty Ice, all right. Much prefer that Matt Ryan than the other one.
Matty Ice. Much less refreshing than our sponsor today of Twisted Tea. Oh, no.
Nice.
It's a lie. Stop saying that. Unless you're interested.
Oh my god, that'd be great. Yeah. Any sponsorship, please.
Gonna ride that meme.
But yeah, so I mean, so they're projecting them to have their more expensive films, like like Wonder Woman costs reportedly $200 million to film. That would be a theater release, whereas a lower budget movie like potentially a Justice League Dark.
Yeah,
because you could probably pull it off. I would struggle to say somewhere between 1,600 million.
So when you say that 200 million budget, I almost see in my head Disney Marvel as that meme with Skinner. Pathetic.
But I mean, here's the thing: but most of the Marvel movies are still around there, but doing much better.
Yeah,
and did on much bigger scale. Anyways, we'll get into that later. Mm-hmm. But 200 million is still a lot of money. Even for a superhero movie, it's still a good amount of money.
Yeah, I joke, but yes, that
yeah,
is.
it's still a fair amount of money. So like you could do a smaller scale, and again, DC has Vertigo. They have Wildstorm. I think Top Cow still. No, I think that's still Image. But they have a lot of worlds.
Flaming Carrot.
And again, even too, actually, would be a great time now is I think they still have Milestone in their catalog. Mm-hmm. So like now would be a perfect time to bring in some of those black-owned, black created characters and do a movie on HBO Max where it's a smaller scale. You wouldn't have to worry about the giant budget. You could do, oh crap, what was like I forget their main character's name. Icon would be cool as hell. They've been waiting for a Static Shock thing for years.
Yeah.
Like, you could easily do those films and, like, do it well. Like it's... I mean, I can't think of a good reason why you wouldn't do a Static Shock movie with this plan in place.
If you do a Static Shock movie, do you do it before or after you introduce Black Lightning into the universe? Because while he's not traditionally just a Black Lightning sidekick, he's very tangentially related, and like they kind of put him in where with like in Young Justice and stuff, where they have him almost have like a mentor-mentee relationship.
That was mostly with that, only because they were trying to tie the worlds together. For the most part, Static Shock was by himself.
Yeah.
The only time he really crossed over was more like Batman Beyond.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Static Shock is one of those characters where he's a DC character, but he's kind of outside of all the regular canon.
He's become a DC character because he was so popular. He's the only character to really survive.
Yeah.
The milestone fall. Mm-hmm. I mean, again, part of that was because one of the main creators passed away very early, but it just didn't last very long, and he endured. I mean, that show definitely helped.
Yeah.
The show in the '90s definitely helped, and his appearances on that led to appearances on Batman Beyond, and then eventually brought him into Young Justice. So I think he could do well, and honestly, I do not see them bringing Black Lightning into the main movies.
I suppose so.
It's possibly a HBO Max thing, but it's just such a outdated idea.
Yeah,
like it's hard to do that.
He's a very corny character to begin with.
Yeah,
and not in the fun, corny way like Luke Cage.
Yeah,
where like he's representative of a style. Yeah. Like Black Lightning is just like, I don't know.
Well, like I said, and I think they did a pretty good job with it in the Black Lightning series on CW.
Yeah.
I mean, that show had some issues myself just on other characterizations in the series.
Yeah.
But he himself, I mean, the actor played it very well as best he could. I mean, granted, even with that silly neon suit.
Yeah.
But I think just the idea of, again, like something like that, it's a very dated idea to do.
Yeah.
Just calling him Black Lightning. I don't know. It didn't sit right.
Change it to Supervolt.
Could be. I mean, a simple name change could help.
Yep.
But also, again, having him, you'd be bringing him in just so Static would have a mentor,
I suppose.
and like Static, I think is just as established as Black Lightning is.
Yeah, at
And
this
it being
point,
a
for
younger,
sure.
and it being a younger actor, you could do more with it.
Yeah.
Have him develop into like a main core hero, a true leaguer, things like that.
What'd you call
A leaguer.
him? Okay.
Wow. Wow.
Something I want to touch on before we move on from this topic is they've announced, Warner Brothers. I don't know if it's part of this whole deal or not, but essentially they're going to have two simultaneous Batman franchises that are not related. Like they don't tie in together at all. They're just going to be, here's a Batman here, here's another Batman here.
Yes. That is based on the odd success they've had the last couple of years with movies that don't fit in with anything.
Like Joker. Well, I guess just Joker, but
Yeah, I mean, Joker, and really, like, there are movies that, like, don't have to fit in.
yeah.
And even, again, like, Suicide Squad, while it does make an effort to fit in, it still kind of doesn't.
Yeah.
Because there's no reason why Superman or somebody wouldn't show up to
Just beat the crap out of him.
to save the day. Like,
Well, and yeah, that's the thing. My grand issue with the original Suicide Squad movie was that they tried to go too big, whereas it would have made a lot better sense if they would have gone like the animated movie and just have the Joker be the threat.
Yep.
And it's like the only reason that they have him doing it is because Batman is somewhere else and Superman is somewhere else doing something, and it's just the Joker, and he's just going to kill a bunch of people. Whereas opposed to, like a life-threatening or like a world-ending or country-ending or whatever kind of threat that the Justice League would take on, they can just go in and do this hit on the Joker, more or less.
Yep.
It's the government's actual answer to supervillains,
Yeah. Well, that's just too, because, I mean, it's
other than the Justice League.
yeah, well, I said, and DC has made a very strong point the last few years of really emphasizing like Amanda Waller's character and other characters of like being anti-league and being anti-capes.
Yep.
About we can do this on our own. We don't need you.
Yeah.
And that's good. I mean, it's a different take on the otherwise just adoration of the gods
Yes.
in the DC universe.
Well, and yeah, that's exactly it. Hitting the nail on the head there. Like that whole thing already kind of exists in the Marvel universe, where they're not all viewed as just these, untouchable, perfect paragons, of good and might. They all have some dark side to them. Like Tony Stark's an alcoholic. Captain America is a little bit of a like a warmonger, but like a conflict instigator. And if you go with the Ultimates version, he's like he's a jingoist. And then even like Thor, he's just too damn pretty. He's just he can't relate. He's a god from another planet. Like
An actual god, so it's okay to give him a little admiration.
Yep.
Yeah, just DC doesn't. There's no plan.
Seems like an overcorrection, big time.
There's no plan, so they're just going to make a bunch of stuff and see what happens. If a franchise works out and they can tie it into like their quote unquote core universe or core dimension, sure, we'll do that. So if Flash works out and they can tie it in, great. If they don't, it was multiverse.
Yeah.
That's all they're doing. They're just throwing shit on the wall and seeing what sticks.
It's trying their approach to the comics on this big screen.
Because again, that's the only reason I can think that you're making 6 movies a year.
New 52 reboot. What's the other ones?
Which crisis do you want to choose?
Yeah. The more what's the one right after
Doomsday.
New 52?
Flashpoint.
Flashpoint. Okay. Yeah.
Flashpoint, then Doomsday Clock.
Yep.
Like it just keeps rebooting.
Yep.
It used to be like a once a decade thing
I
or a
feel
once
like
every 20 year thing.
Dark Knight's Metal is going to somehow lead into that in the grand scheme of things, where like I think that story has more or less been told to completion, but now like the Batman Who Laughs is part of the normal series or normal universe, and like all this other stuff that's going on is like this could. They set some stuff up here where it's kind of a backdoor for them to just say, nope. That's
what they do.
Nope.
But But yeah, so DC will just keep doing shit and see what happens. As long as it brings good movies, I'm fine with it. While I lead Marvel, I just want fun movies to watch.
Yep. Give me more Shazam. Give me more Aquaman. Give me more Wonder Woman. Not that one. Not that one. But yeah, that one.
Oh boy.
Yeah. We'll get to it.
No, super cool. Yeah, that sounds great. Doing great.
So going far across the pond, some news out of Japan. Demon Slayer, the Mugen Train, has passed Spirited Away to become the highest grossing film in Japan ever. 32.47 billion yen, 313.9, so pretty much turned 14 million US dollars. Again, Disney standing over. Pathetic.
But again, no Marvel. The only other movie that came close to was Titanic. No Marvel movie never came close.
I suppose. It's a different world over there, anyways. Like, so we're getting the subbed and dubbed versions in 2021 on the way.
Yep.
Not here yet. Not even on Kiss Anime.
Well, and again, I mean, Spirited Away. I mean, again, a Miyazaki film that's like it's won awards across the world.
Yep.
It was an instant,
Critical
it
praise.
was an instant classic.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of like the must sees of the anime world.
I don't think I've seen it yet.
Same here.
I've seen Princess Mononoke. I've seen several of the Ghibli films, but
I've started it. I'm not much of like a serious movie fan, and I'm aware of what the movie's about. I will see it eventually. It's on my bucket list. It's on my HBO Max list. But I want to watch fun, dumb stuff first.
yeah.
But again, I mean, even more impressive that it happened during a pandemic.
Yeah.
And again, like while Japan isn't as shut down as a lot of countries are, because let's be serious, America really isn't that shut down.
Depends on what state you go to, but yeah.
Yeah, Florida, they don't care. But no, it's still amazing that it happened during a pandemic, and they did it like it hit a few records. Like I think it had its biggest like 10-day gross, and I think it came in second behind like Titanic for best 45-day gross, or past them for best 45-day gross.
Nice.
And then like it came out in October, just now, like I think this week or whatever. Past Spirited Away is the highest grossing.
Right.
And again, it'll probably be in theaters for at least a few more weeks. Not a whole lot else being released. So
Yeah.
it's gonna pass it by a little bit more probably. Get past the new year, nothing else to do.
Well, and I know Demon Slayer has been widely praised for its art style, anyways, and even just like as a series, it's been very popular. It's not my personal favorite. It's fine. I just don't get the insane levels of hype around it.
Yeah, especially with the other animes that are out. It's definitely for me style over substance.
Yeah.
I can appreciate the art style and how they switch between different styles.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not for me.
Have you seen Great Pretender yet?
Nope.
It's really good. Really good, and the art style is fucking amazing. In my opinion, blows Demon Slayer out of the water. This is bright and colorful and detailed and rich, and the animation is all fluid. Now, it's not a shonen, but
And that's why I'll always fail.
yeah, pretty much. It's a heist anime, but I thought it was fun. I thought it was really good. But I mean, if you're looking at something like that, they say where you're just looking about the style, the level of animation, the quality of animation. I feel like there are still better shows out there than Demon Slayer. Again, it's not a knock on it. It's good. It's not bad. It's just the level of hype. Like they're comparing it to the greats, and it's like I don't feel like they've had a good storyline yet where it's like just, oh my gosh, this is so memorable. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, honestly, because again, like it's only like 12 episodes, 16
Something like
episodes.
that, yeah.
It's a very small first season. It's not like 24 or something like that. It's like it's pretty small. So like maybe it is. I don't know. Anyways, like most of it's like again like the first like quarter of the series is him training, getting ready to be a demon slayer.
Yeah.
Then the last quarter is him training, getting ready to be a demon slayer. And then there's some stuff in the middle. Like there's some cool fights, spread out there. Like I mean, really, honestly, what I think what really sold the series is two things: their fights in that forest against the family,
Yeah.
and the OP. Like that song alone, I'm confident is 30% of the reason that show is popular. That song is a banger. It still slaps.
I like when he fights the lady spider, and it's all very sad, the end and everything like that. That was pretty good. Spoilers.
Yeah, like I said, it has some good moments. It just isn't.
I just don't put it up there on on a pedestal to be like. It vaguely reminds me of Ninja Scroll. Obviously, with some extreme differences in thematics.
Yeah.
But as far as the art style, obviously the setting, and even some of the animation and the way they do the fights are done are very similar. And that movie is 30 years old, and I think, in my opinion, looks as good. Maybe a bit less flashy, but the animation quality is good. The detail on the drawing is excellent. It's just that there's a lot more like special effect type shit going on with Demon Slayer.
Well, when I look at Demon Slayer, it ticks a lot. It ticks a lot of boxes where it's slightly more like chibi style.
Yeah.
So they are the more like kawaii style of animation of characters. They focus more on having best boys and best girls.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like that's the only reason why Zenitsu exists. I'm assuming.
Tanjiro!
Just a character that constantly screams until he gets knocked
He's
out.
the most annoying fucking thing in the world.
He is the worst. I'm mildly interested to see how they explain why he's good when he's passed out.
Yep.
But whatever about that, to be perfectly honest. They set some interesting things up, but I think it's one of those series where it's like I care more about like the great demon slayers they introduced than I do about the main character.
Yeah.
Like Tanjiro is fucking annoying.
Yeah.
Like cool kimono, don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. But he's annoying as fuck.
Good character design, bad character.
Yeah. If I can just watch if I can watch Nezuko like run with the big dogs, that'd be fucking sweet. Because she's fucking badass as hell.
Yep.
But
So where she comes out and kicks the one demon's head off.
Beast mode.
Great.
It's good moments. Just
Yeah.
But like I said, I think most of that it's entirely again it's the art style that they use throughout it. Especially when they have like their abilities, like their breathing styles have that like almost like ancient scroll like Japanese scroll style art to it.
Like a ninja scroll.
And again that
Ukiyo-e.
And again that opening song. Yeah.
It's ukiyo-e.
Yeah.
But
and then that opening song, like I think that sold it for most people. Yeah. Like that's the only thing I remember about that series. Like it's the first series where I actually listen to the intro before each episode. Because that song fucking slaps. Every cover of it is fucking beautiful. It's beautifully sung. It's well made. I fucking love that song. Show is whatever.
Yeah.
But hey, they broke the record, so kudos for them.
Yeah.
Hear that, Toei? Do something with Dragon Ball.
Can't wait for season 5 of My Hero. Can't wait for season 2 of One Punch Man. That's what you say. But Ryan, they already did season 2 of One Punch Man. And I go, can't wait for season 2 of One Punch Man.
I like season 2.
It's fine. But certainly didn't live up to the lofty expectations of season 1. I haven't.
It's impossible to live those expectations.
Yeah, no, they fucking hit it out of the park at that point. It's hard to live up to that.
It was an all-star crew of animators and artists working for peanuts.
Yeah.
Or just not being paid at all.
And working with a better story than the second season, anyways. Did you see any of Attack on Titan? I have yet to see any.
So the first episode, it was pretty sweet. Spoilers, pretty sweet to see. Well, you haven't seen it. I'm not gonna say anything. It was pretty fun. But I'm not paying Crunchyroll or Funimation, so I haven't seen the rest of the episodes.
Are you done?
Yeah, I didn't say anything about the episode.
Okay. Anyways, So, that's pretty much all we got for news, yeah?
Yeah. Light on news because of the holidays.
Yeah.
Hope you guys enjoyed your Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Hope you guys enjoy your
Happy Hanukkah.
upcoming New Year. We're
Happy
almost there,
Kwanzaa.
guys. It's almost over.
And a solemn and peaceful Ramadan.
Assalamu alaikum.
It's a Simpsons reference that I botched. Obviously, Paul, did you get anything good for Christmas?
Yeah, I guess got some new workout gear. Few neat little accoutrements.
Nice.
Some nice cologne.
Cologne, yeah. Cool. I didn't really get anything except for the stuff that you got me, which was all great. Charles got me because every year he gets me a hot sauce thing, and he got me a big one this year. It was like 12 different bottles. It was like this big. For those of you who can't see, I held my arms out about shoulder width, and I have very broad shoulders, ladies.
It was still a little exaggerated for your shoulders, but all right.
Anyways, so that was nice. The end. So let's move on to our main topics, I suppose. We're going to go with the positive first, just to keep things rolling. So it's a dual topic, 2 for 1. We got a BOGO. Anyways, so a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
2 weeks.
2 weeks, they aired the season finale of The Mandalorian, show we've been vaguely keeping up with on here, on our podcast, talking about. I think we missed a couple of them, but we'll just go straight into the finale for those of you who have seen it. For those of you who haven't, this is a heavy spoiler warning. We're going to pretty much go in depth on the whole episode. So if you have not seen it yet, skip ahead to the Wonder Woman review. I'm not going to give out a time mark because I don't know when it'll be. Fair warning. The Mandalorian, episode 14, 15? The Rescue.
16.
Episode 16. We'll fix that in post. No. Great episode or the greatest episode?
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good. It's pretty damn good. Fantastic finish to a great season. Definitely loved it. A lot of ups and downs. A lot of old faces came back. A lot of really old faces a couple really old faces came back. And we got a satisfying conclusion, a heartbreaking finish, but overall, a good way to end this season, and end it enough to where, honestly, if they didn't make a season 3, perfectly fine. But they did leave it open enough to where I think they could go further with the story if they wanted. They opened up a lot of different opportunities and venues, and ultimately they ensured that Star Wars is going to be popular for a while now, in my opinion. They saved the franchise.
Yeah, they should. I mean, granted, it's still like with Star Wars, it's still a case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
They're pretty much guaranteed a third season because they have or at least if nothing else, one special, because they have to conclude at the very least the ending of the Darksaber storyline.
Mm-hmm.
To figure out who's getting that. But yeah,
How they're getting it. How they're getting it.
I mean, yeah, it's got yeah.
Mando don't want it.
So again, we're in full spoilers here. So the part we're alluding to is Mando takes on Moff Gideon, beats him. Honestly, it was a surprisingly good fight considering it was a 65-year-old man fighting him.
Yeah.
But actually, they did it pretty well. Where it wasn't like a joke fight. It wasn't like one of those like Alec McGuinness versus a guy in a suit fight from the 70s. It was a pretty solid, back and forth for a moment.
And they set it up well. Moff Gideon knows he's out of ammo, more or less. The only thing he's got left is his Beskar spear. So it has to be a spear and sword fight. No blasters, no jetpacks, no flamethrowers, no, what do they call it thing? The whistling bird or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah. None of that stuff.
We'll just call them tweets.
Yeah. Fleets. Reach more people. So it wasn't like, this 60-year-old man is keeping up with one of the most biggest badasses in the universe. It was like an actual
okay, this is why this is happening like this. Worth it. Before all of that, so they did a great job of bringing back characters. They brought back Cara Dune. They bring back Bo-Katan. They bring back Fennec Shand. And they bring back Koska Reeves. Of course, they bring back Mando. Or, sorry. Of course, they bring back Mando. Boba. Unfortunately, they didn't bring back everyone's favorite character, Frog Lady. Missed opportunity. Or Timothy All-Fantastic.
Well, he has nothing. He has nothing to bring to the table, unfortunately. In this fight, so
No longer has the
understand.
Mandalorian armor,
Yeah.
so. I like how you use that for Timothy All-Fantastic, not for Frog Lady.
I mean, she's not any better or worse than she was when he left her. So, probably more tired now from watching all those fucking tadpoles.
Yeah.
But I mean, while I get why they did it, it still is weird how they didn't acknowledge that they just didn't bring the third Mandalorian from their crew.
Yeah.
Like, oh, because he's a guy. Got it. Cool.
Well,
Because the girls get it done.
yes. He wasn't there though. Like when they brought him in. Like I mean, so whatever.
But where was he?
Doesn't matter.
Like they seemingly are always together. That was the one time they weren't.
I guess. I don't know. I think they did a better job of having that flow naturally. Them just having a bunch of women around to kick ass than they did in Endgame.
Oh no, of course. Listen, Endgame is the worst case scenario. It was the worst case.
Listen, I didn't hate that part in Endgame, but it's very yes.
It's the very definition of fan service.
It's forced.
Yeah.
It was forced. This did not feel that way.
No, but like,
Yes, there's that little mystery
said,
of where is that guy, but
it's nitpicky.
Yeah.
But it's something that very easily could have been explained away by it was like by Mando asking, oh, where's the third guy? Oh, he's off on a mission.
Yeah.
Very easily explained away. They just didn't bother. It's fine. It's not the end of the world. Again, only like a handful of us nerds even fucking noticed it.
Yeah.
Because he is very forgettable. He don't even think he has a name.
Yeah.
If I'm being perfectly honest.
he did. But I don't think he contributed much. Like even the girl, Koska, I think she is an existing character. And even beyond that, like at least she occasionally chimed in and like
Yeah, he was literally just there.
yeah.
Like even like she fought Boba, and he was always just there, and it's fine. I understand why I understand him not going. I perfectly understand because it actually was a decent scene with the four of them, and even that like classic, oh my gun's stuck. So they still did a very good job of playing around with it.
Yeah. Wait, when does that happen with blasters? So at the beginning of the episode, they get together and they commandeer an Imperial shuttle to grab the doctor from the first season, the guy who was experimenting on Grogu. That's his name, Baby Yoda. To get him to use him to get them access to the light cruiser, you know. While this is happening, there's a very interesting exchange between the two pilots, like one and the other, where basically the one pilot who is clearly pro-Empire and whatnot, basically takes Dr. Pershing hostage, and he's like, come any closer, we'll get him. We're going to kill him. And the other pilot is like, nah, we ain't going to do that. And the first pilot shoots him, kills him dead. No tolerance for traitors, I guess. But there's an exchange between him and Cara Dune, where he takes a jab at her about Alderaan, and all the people died there. And then she goes, basically jabs back at him with the Death Stars, and he says, "Do you know how many millions were on those bases?" Good moment, small moment, very heated, very tense, taut exchange, but it's a good moment because it kind of set up a very. It gives you a little bit more insight to why these people in the Empire are more than just evil. Like, they're serving, in their eyes, the equivalent to their country. And they were attacked by terrorists who killed millions, if not billions, of their own people. We're still rooting for the good guys, mind you, because we know them. We've already developed feelings with them and everything like this. But it was a great moment to show it's not one-sided. in a show that has been fantastic about finding gray areas. I thought it was a great opportunity to look at that, for them to do that.
Yeah, I mean, this
It was
series,
throwaway, but
yeah, I mean, this series more than anything else in Star Wars did a good job of actually showing the people that. Oh, God damn it! There's good people on both sides. That
they're one of the good ones.
but
the people on the ground.
But again, like they're not just like droids or clones.
Yeah.
You know, they have their own thoughts, they have their own feelings towards these things, and again, whether they've been indoctrinated, you know, and again, it's no different because again, at the end of the day, the Empire is space Nazis.
Yeah.
So of course they're going to be indoctrinated.
You're meant to not root for them.
Yeah.
But
But yeah, no, great exchange. You know, I had friends. You know, people died on the Death Star, and nice little quip. Which one? Mm-hmm. It's a great little line. And no, they did a good job throughout the series, peppering in like a few moments here and there. You know, actually just explaining them. And again, even like that moment where like it's that honestly, I think I prefer the episode before with Bill Burr's character. Like that part where like they get through it and like again while they're quote unquote being chased by pirates.
Yep.
Pretty sure pirates don't just blow up the thing they're trying to steal, but okay, sure.
Yep.
They're clearly just natives who are trying to destroy them to get them off their planet.
Yeah.
So they win. They beat the bad guys, quote unquote, beat the natives who are just trying to defend their land, get to the base, and then all the stormtroopers just congratulating and celebrating. I'm like, oh, this is fucking weird.
Yeah.
Ugh, ugh. And then they have to hack into the system that accepts any face.
Weird.
Definitely some issues in the series.
Maybe they should have like prefaced that by being like, I can get you in. We paid a guy to put your face in the database or something like that.
Yeah.
Then how would it be in the database?
Yeah.
But
yeah, like I said, it would have been very easily.
or maybe
fixed.
like the key that he uses is like a blank one, and a face has to be scanned. Then I guess why wouldn't you use Bill Burr's? But maybe his face is already in the database.
mean,
Listen, we can go into this for hours.
regardless of what it is, it was contrived just so that Mando takes his helmet off, and it's fine. It's a nice little scene because again, like many people have pointed out before, he without hesitation takes it off.
Yeah.
Time's running out. Fucking gotta do it. Like it's not one of those things where it's like, oh, where he like freaks out and it causes this thing to happen. No, he does it because he has to, because he cares more about the baby than he does about his creed. At that point,
And
it's a huge character moment at that point. Like I think that's the first time he takes it off in front of somebody, or did he do it earlier in the season?
he did not do it in front of somebody in the first season.
Yeah, that's,
He
well,
did
I mean,
it-
in this season. I know not the first, but I mean this season.
This
Then he takes it
season,
off
no.
like twice.
He
Is it just twice takes the helmet off?
he like lifts it to eat while he's with Grogu, but he doesn't take it off.
Okay, so it was just then and then in the final episode.
Yeah, and in the first season he took it off when he was alone.
Yeah, with
And in front of IG,
11.
yeah, 11. Yep.
Okay, so yeah, so it was just the last two episodes, and that one was definitely, it was. And I understand it was shown as him showing growth as a character because he's been fairly straightforward as a character for 2 seasons. So it's nice to see that kind of like that next step of growth for him.
Love that Bill Burr moment too when after they sit down and they talk with the officer and he just like completely pushes all the wrong buttons of Bill Burr's character and Bill Burr just hauls off and shoots him. And then all the other officers are standing around like staring, and he just shoots them too.
The fuck?
And then he just turns and he hands Mando his helmet, and he goes, "I never saw your face." like, Bill Burr had more character development in one episode than most characters get in entire series.
Yeah.
Like you can see, he was one of the fucking Imperial officers, not officers, but stormtroopers or whatever he was. Sharpshooter, sorry, I forgot. And he was involved in this operation in which it was a massacre, and he hated it and he regretted it and he didn't know what to do about it. And then he finds this one guy who is just all about it. He's proud of it. He's we did this to these people. Well, we got something in store we're gonna do that's even worse. And he just snaps and he's like, "You're fucking dead, motherfucker. All you motherfuckers over there are dead too."
No, it's great because again, because he's introduced as such a one-dimensional asshole
Yep.
in the first season, and it's a great I'm not gonna say redemption necessarily because he's still kind of an asshole,
That's with Boston.
but at least you understand why he's an asshole.
Yep.
So no, I mean I think overall definitely most of the character development in the series in this season was done very well.
Yeah.
Some more, some less. Those were definitely some high points.
Oh yeah. I had some other stuff I was going to say too, but man, it's easy to get into a spirited debate about this. And it may just be, the nerd of me that was raised on Star Wars. But it's fun to see shit like this. Even just like kind of talking about when they go to pick up the girls, the Mando girls. Yep. When they go to do the Mando girls, they have this little interaction where they're kind of they're verbally sparring and even eventually physically sparring. But they just throw around this dialogue that just sounds like the fan servicey dumbest shit made up that you've ever heard, but it's done so well that you don't question it. Like you just like these words that they're saying can't possibly mean anything. And I think even what they used wasn't even like established Star Wars like things, like scruffy looking Nerf herder, things like that. But it just like it flowed so well, and the performances in that scene are great. But it just kind of goes to show you that like when these things are done right, when they're done well with good direction and good actors and written well, it can work. So I don't know. I just thought that was a great moment. All those little ones. Speaking of great moments, the siege on the on the light cruiser, where they're all just going through the halls of the light cruiser, just wrecking house. Just like all the girls going through, just like fucking up the stormtroopers and everything. Just like that was great. It was a very Chris Farley moment for me, by the way. You remember when Fennec Shan kicked that guy and then shot him?
Oh.
That was great.
Self-awareness is important.
Yes. Anyways, it was just little things like that.
Yeah, no, I mean, a good part, like I said, it led very well into Mando just getting there late to shut the door on the Dark Troopers.
Yep.
So he still has to fight one.
Yep. Did not work out so well for most of that fight.
Yeah. I mean, my only, I think, one of the things that I do regret about this season is that they didn't do a good job of establishing like how
Certain
menacing
things.
they were.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like they definitely like appear like they're basically like this universe's Terminators.
Yeah.
But I don't think they just didn't have a chance to breathe and really do anything.
Yeah.
If they'd reintroduced maybe like one episode earlier, or even like while they're off doing their own adventures, they show them doing things. Maybe like they're off like
Other than just flying down and stealing Grogu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because even they're like it's they like to punch stuff. Mm-hmm. So good for them. They're punchy. But yeah, they don't seem to do a whole lot else.
Yeah.
It was just two of them are punching when there's like a whole squadron there.
Yeah.
It's just weird. I don't know. It's fine. They're cool. I mean, I'm sure they'll get a better treatment in the comics or in a different format.
Yeah.
I don't know that we'll see them again in the series or anything, unless Moff does get like released.
Yeah. Well, you never know what Thrawn's plans are, if he's got any relation to the Dark Troopers, and
Maybe.
the theory right now is that Moff is working for Thrawn.
Could be too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, no reason why he wouldn't have a whole goddamn squadron of them, whole goddamn platoon and shit, whole fucking just army of them.
I feel like that's the first time that they were ever made to like look terrifying. Like all the other droids just look goofy and stupid, and even the stormtroopers, while like yeah, they're somewhat intimidating, like the Dark Troopers just looked scary as shit.
Yep.
Like just tanks with limbs. Big black tanks with
They're
limbs.
the best we've had in since T2 of showing real life fucking threatening
robots.
Like robots.
Yeah.
Like,
they do one thing, and they do it so unstoppably well that they're unstoppable. And I will say one thing. As ridiculous as it was, their musical cue did go a long way to make them a bit more intimidating.
yeah.
Like just there's this whole launch sequence, so to speak, where they're all in like some kind of a stasis thing, and they just like they start you see like locks unlocking and tubes coming out of them, and everything that you see is in sync with this like industrial dubsteppy in like Imperial March sort of thing. Like not quite dun 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 dun, dun but very similar to that, but just mechanical. Like mechanical as fuck. Like, and it's just like holy shit.
Yeah, no, that was definitely done very, very well. So before we get into like the big ending of it, so we're touching on it earlier. So Moff and Mando fight. Mando wins. He has Darksaber, and unfortunately, nobody bothered to tell him until that point.
Well, and the crew basically has succeeded in their mission at that point too.
So so they're on the bridge. They're like, the fuck is Moff? Like they have no idea where he is.
Yeah.
They didn't know what was going on until Mando comes in rolling with him. He's holding the Darksaber. Moff's all fucking defeated.
Yep.
You see your girl is fucking like Steven already.
Yeah.
And that's when he finds out something they really should have told him earlier.
Yeah.
Really should have told him earlier about this.
Really? You should have made, yeah. But maybe he felt that if they told him, he would have gone after it and she didn't know.
He's a very unmotivated character.
It's true.
He's only cared about one thing.
It's true, but
I get it, but again, like like they're proven wrong immediately.
I suppose.
Like he unprompted is like, take this. So he has Darksaber. He's trying to give it to Bo-Katan immediately because he does not want. He doesn't give a shit about any of this.
Yep.
He just wants his fucking toys. He just wants to move on. He likes his little spear. That's all he cares about.
It's a pretty dope spear.
It is. It's a dope spear.
It's like a spear with a tuning fork.
And that's when he learns that the Darksaber cannot be given; it must be taken.
Yes.
So it can only be
combat.
it can only be won in combat.
Yep.
So and that's obviously at some point, assumably Moff beat Bo-Katan to get the Darksaber.
Assumably.
Again, he beat somebody or just whatever.
He could have just taken it, and the only way she can get it back is to beat him in combat, and he's just been running from her ever since.
Yeah. So that's where we are now. So that's leading into season 3 that somehow they have to fight, and hopefully presumably Mando survives.
Yeah.
Because Bo has a look in her eyes like they very easily could like. Mando would be very down for a fake fight, where he's like, "Oh no, I lost," and like just like it like
Flip.
just like flops, like gives it to her. But she doesn't want that. She wants, you need to fight at your best. I need to fight at my best, and there can only be one survivor.
I need to win.
And I feel like she has to look at her eye like, you have to die.
Yep.
Like I can't let you live because you might come back and take this from me.
Yep.
She's like fucking power hungry for this shit. She is thirsty as fuck for this fucking Darksaber.
And one thing we didn't mention is that whoever holds the Darksaber is the leader of all Mandalorians.
Yeah.
Takes the Mandalorian throne. So that's why it's such a big thing.
Yeah. And Mando could not give a shit about that.
Nope.
But she insists, and she's the first Mandalorian she's come across in a while that could threaten her.
Yeah. And all this. So when Mando locked out the stormtroopers, the dark troopers, he shot them out into space. They're out there floating about. So all this is going down after he beats the one dark trooper that got through, and then beats Moff Gideon, and then gets to the bridge and is waiting around for to figure out what's going on with this whole thing, and yada yada. The dark troopers come back, a platoon of them. Now, one dark trooper gave Mando quite a bit of a trouble.
Using quite a bit of a sticky wicket.
Yes. The only reason he was able to beat the dark trooper is because of the Beskar spear. So you got a whole bunch of dark troopers coming up, and they're closing in on the crew. They're all on the bridge. They lock down the bridge, and they're like, "All right, we need to figure out a plan. How are we going to do this? What are we going to do? What are we going to do?" And Moff Gideon is all, "You guys are screwed." And then we see on one of the monitors a lone X-Wing flies into the docking bay. I repeat, a lone X-Wing flies into the docking
back.
bay.
The Asian Appa from the second episode.
No. Not two X-Wings, because they fly together. Only one. So you say, okay, well, somebody's here. I love the meme that came out of that, by the way, where it's Moff Gideon and he's smiling. It says, one X-Wing is landing. One X-Wing is landing. But, so somebody gets out. They're in a black cloak. They're walking along, and they get to the Dark Troopers, and what do? Lightsaber, green lightsaber, and then all of a sudden they just start wrecking shop, right? Just fucking up all these Dark Troopers, just going on, and then he flings open his robe a little bit, not all the way, and you see one black gloved hand. And then he keeps going through, slice. Very reminiscent of the Darth Vader hallway fight from Rogue One. And he gets to the very last Dark Trooper. Force crushes him. And they're all like, who is this? And you kind of see, Grogu at one point was kind of looking up. Huh? And he gets to the main entrance, and he opens the door after he's destroyed all the Dark Troopers. Lowers his hood. Who is it? None other than Julie Andrews. No. Mark Hamill's horribly CGI'd face.
That was, for Instagram, a really good deepfake.
Yeah.
For YouTube, an okay deepfake. It's fine when he's not moving. The problem is they want to show him talking while looking at him.
Yeah.
I'm concerned why they spent a lot of time on his face.
Yeah.
Which was a mistake.
Yeah.
They would have had, just because, again, we all knew who it was.
Mark Hamill's a prolific voice actor.
One, if you didn't know who it was when he got off when the X-Wing showed up,
Yeah.
you found out pretty quickly when they showed just the one black gloved hand.
Yeah.
When he's in the black robe, when he has the big ass silver belt buckle, when they show the green lightsaber.
The green lightsaber is a dead giveaway.
Yeah, once you get to that point, it's very clear who this person is.
Yeah.
Me personally, I'm a little disappointed because it creates some storytelling dead ends.
Yeah.
Granted, I'm not super deep into the legends, into the the other worlds of Star Wars, but I think it would have been a lot more interesting to see just another Jedi, maybe a more prolific Jedi from either another series or from one of the books or something like that show up. Just because, again, we know Luke's story from here, so
we know that there are other.
We're already on the clock for when Grogu is either gonna not be with Luke anymore or get killed.
Yep.
So we're on a very specific timetable. It's not like he's not going to be with him forever.
Yeah.
We got from that point maybe 10 years before he starts the academy.
Yeah.
So, but honestly, it's just more a matter of fact that it's going to be in the beginning or the end of season 3 where he's back in Mando.
Brisk 60 years old.
So,
yeah. My question is, why did they bother so much with the CGI when you have Sebastian Stan on the payroll, who he's a dead ringer for a young Mark Hamill.
Well,
maybe a little bit more masculine in the jawline, but hardly could play an older Luke.
No. They've done the side-by-side comparisons a lot. My only explanation for that is I'm assuming is they don't plan on using him very much.
I guess.
They don't plan on this thing being around for a while.
How much would they really have to pay him? He's in the Winter Soldier, and just write that into his contract.
You have to make a new contract for it.
Whatever.
It's a whole new series.
Whatever.
It's a whole new company underneath the main banner.
I guess.
So, his contract, while granted is under Disney, is still through Marvel Studios.
It's Disney. They can figure out a way.
No, of course, but again, they didn't bother because they don't plan on using it, which tells me they don't plan on using him much in the next season.
Yeah.
So he's not getting it. No, he shouldn't. He shouldn't have been there anyways. It was pure fan service. It was just a match, just to give their version of the Darth Vader fight.
Yeah.
It's just fine.
It was good. I enjoyed it.
It was a chance to see Luke actually be a badass for once.
Yep. Best part about it.
Yeah. That being said, I'm still a fan of The Last Jedi, and I accept it.
Yeah.
That was a good fight at the end.
Yeah, I'm okay with that because it's close enough to the end of Return of the Jedi where he's still optimistic. He hasn't, taken on Ben Solo and seen, that the dark side can influence you no matter what, and lost his faith more or less. But which I guess would happen when you're the only Jedi out there.
Yeah. Let's be honest, he was never very good. No. That was at its peak.
That's why, so the whole thing about Vader fulfilling the prophecy and everything and bringing balance to the Force works better if Luke doesn't know what the hell he's doing, because that did bring balance to the Force. It eliminated all the good Jedi, eliminated all the Sith, and left Luke, the only user of the Force, completely disillusioned with whatever direction he should take. Like, that works as a prophecy. That works as a life example. Yes, it doesn't make the best story per se, but I don't know.
But he's not the only one.
He's not the only he's not the only Force user. He's the only Jedi left.
I mean, only because technically Ahsoka renounced it, and Luke doesn't even know what a Jedi means.
So she is also a gray Jedi.
That's fine. I'm okay with that. No, I'm just saying he's not a great Jedi.
No, I know that. I understood that. But gray Jedi is the correct term for somebody who's neither a light user or a dark user. Cause
I mean, Luke tries really hard to be a light user. He doesn't know what being a Jedi means.
Yeah. Well, there's another theory about that Leia is the one who got the bad guy genes. She's the hot-headed, angry, give in to her emotions type.
Just a regular bloody woman, you know what I'm talking about?
bloody fucking woman. But even just like her general personality is, I ain't taking your shit, First to pull a blaster. Even quicker on the trigger than Han.
Okay, Your Highness.
Leia shot first. Yeah. Anyways, so we got the answer to who's going to take on Grogu's training. And we're left with a very, very emotional goodbye. If nothing else, for the rest of us. A great ending, in my opinion.
Yeah, it should have been a great ending. I just could not peel my eyes away from that horrible deepfake.
The CGI
Because Pedro
monstrosity.
Pascal did a great job acting against a puppet. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was just undercut by that horrible, horrible deepfake.
Practical will always be better than CG.
But honestly, I see the only real main sin of this season is it spent too much time setting up other series.
Yeah.
Again, while I love the Ahsoka episode, it was clearly just a setup for her show.
Yep. Especially with that ending of where is Grand Admiral Thrawn?
And then obviously the ending where the credits the credit scene,
post credits tacked on,
introducing the Book of Boba.
My question is, are there books in the Star Wars universe? Because I never really see anybody reading books.
Yeah, that's still a running conspiracy.
Is that everyone's illiterate?
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't even talking about that. Like, it's just the fact that you never see a book, but except for in the second one, Last Jedi. The second of the sequels.
Yeah, the Sacred Jedi.
Sacred Jedi texts.
Yeah.
He's like, Yoda strikes him down with lightning, and he's like, "No, the Sacred Jedi text, which I totally read." Anyways, for those of you who don't know, there's a theory out there that everyone in the Star Wars universe is illiterate because all of their controls and stuff have no writing on them.
It's all shapes and colors.
And you never see a book. You never see any of that sort of thing. It's like, do they all just touch buttons until they work? Is there a universe full of people just beep, bop, bop, boop, boom, just blow up their fucking starship because they don't know what they're doing?
It worked for Steve Trevor.
Yeah, it's true. So, is that our segue?
That's your segue.
All right. So, Wonder Woman 84 released on Christmas Day. On streaming and in the movie theaters. I guess there were no movie theaters on Christmas Day, technically.
Yeah, they're open.
Oh, they are? Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I guess the movie theaters were open on Christmas Day, technically. But Paul and I both watched it separately. We did have slightly separate takeaways, but I think we both came to the same conclusion of...
Here, let's go into basic intros for the movie first. Okay, so obviously a follow-up to the first Wonder Woman movie, while taking place in 1984, before BVS and Justice League.
Yep.
That'll be important later on when we talk about some issues. It reportedly had a budget of $200 million. That obviously, with the way the world fell apart, it couldn't get a proper release.
Yeah.
That being said, during the pandemic era, it did have the best opening weekend.
Yeah.
I forget what it did domestic. I know worldwide it did 80 million opening weekend. I want to say like 17 or 20, somewhere around there in the U.S. Which I mean, considering it's only like a couple hundred theaters open, it's pretty good. But I will only say my main takeaway from this film, it was the biggest sin it had is that it was boring.
Yeah.
There are a lot of problems I had with it. I can tear apart a lot of things in each scene, but the biggest sin is just that it was boring. It was a 2.5 hour long, boring movie, and then there's no real resolution. I mean, going into it, we kind of know that it has to end the way it starts because there can't be any major changes before BVS, despite there being a giant fucking worldwide event.
Oh yeah.
But okay, sure.
Nearly world-ending event. Yeah. I would say that it being boring largely is a symptom of them not bothering to give her anyone to actually fight against. Like, no one who is an actual threat for her.
Yeah.
And they start out with a fun little scene in the beginning. You have your qualms about it. I don't care. Like, it was enjoyable to watch. It was fun. It was a character building moment. The problem I had with it was it went nowhere.
The Healy scene?
No. I'm talking about the Olympics. The Junior Olympics. So starts out with Diana as a child doing some kind of a sport obstacle event. Greatest Amazonian warrior obstacle course with a couple of grown Amazons and her, which she is just completely wrecking shop in.
Yeah, she's like 12, like looks like a 12-year-old at that time.
And your argument was, and I do see your point 100%, that even when we come across her as a grown-up in the first movie, she wasn't some like unbelievable prodigy. She was more or less on par, if not just average.
Yeah.
As far as Amazon is concerned. She wasn't legendary.
Yeah, with the context, she was just an average Amazon.
Yeah.
Not a good Amazon or a great Amazon, just like average. And that's even like given the fact that like in that shot we see a lot of Amazons in the stands.
Yep.
So one, where the fuck did they go?
Yep.
Two, a lot of them seem like non-warriors.
Yep.
So she's again winning until she fucking like gets distracted.
Yep.
But again, we're not getting into details about that shit. But again, that all that seems to exist just to introduce this ancient hero of theirs.
Yep.
To introduce their armor that she's going to use later on.
Yeah. So more or less, what happens is that she's doing the thing, running the race, like you do, and she's the whole time she's looking back at her opponents, and even though she's way ahead, she looks back at her opponents. She's on horseback at one point. And she's looking back at her opponents and gets knocked off her horse, and she's confused. She doesn't know what to do. Oh my gosh, I just got knocked off. How do I get back? And she misses this one arrow thing that she has to shoot, which sends up a smoke signal, which signifies that she passed this marker and everything. So she takes a shortcut and slides down this mountain and gets back on her horse. She's ahead of her opponents at this point, and then she rides it in. And she's getting ready to finish this race by throwing a javelin through a ring, Sonic and Tails style. Throwing javelins. Yep. But then she gets pulled off, and she's like, "No, one of the other girls wins." And then she's like, "No, you cheated. You took the short path." My big issue with that is that it led nowhere. Like, it never came back to be like a thing for her.
Well, that's a running theme for this movie.
Yes, it is.
Again, I don't want to get bogged down with every single scene. Let's just look at each character and kind of, the good and bad of each one. Like, the standout should have been Maxwell Lord, played by Pedro Pascal.
Daddy Mando
himself.
Yeah.
But I would say for most of these characters, it's the same problem that they don't know really what to do with them. They don't commit one way or the other.
100%.
He at times is a really good campy villain.
Yeah.
At other times, a very good like Gordon Gekko, Greed is good, like 80s
Businessman.
businessman, like
Very thinly veiled Donald Trump analog.
yeah, that's I tried really hard. It was very weak, but it's fine. But again, it's also I'll be assuming that he actually liked his kid.
Yeah.
Besides wanting to have sex with one.
I missed that part.
No, Trump wants to have sex with his daughter.
Oh, yeah.
Besides that, otherwise he seems not.
I didn't see that in the movie.
Otherwise, he seems not to care about his kids. Yeah. But I'm saying like he legitimately likes his kid, and again, then later on we're shown where he grew up poor, and he had a rough life coming up.
Donald Trump.
So, so again, they're doing a lot at the end to
Small business,
to
$1 million.
humanize and make you feel empathy for this character.
They did a good job of that,
who
in my opinion.
nearly destroyed the world, and there's zero consequences for him.
Yeah.
He gets back, gets his kid, and just fucks off.
Yep.
No consequences.
Yep.
Almost destroys the world, no consequences.
Which to me kind of sucks because like Maxwell Lord was a bit more interesting character from the comics, where like he spent a lot of time interacting with the Justice League and this and that and the other, and he was kind of a double agent type of thing. And obviously they're not going to do that anymore. Maybe they'll try to replace him with fucking Mark Zuckerberg Luther, but Mark Lutherberg. But I don't see that happening. Wasted character for sure. And Pedro Pascal was the standout of the movie, but the problem is his character wasn't.
It bounced too hard between being like sincere, being goofy, being like charismatic. Mm-hmm. It was just like it was very cartoonish, but not in a good way.
No.
Then you have Kristen Wiig / Barbara / Cheetah.
Yeah.
That it's just there. Like again,
Yeah.
it's. And I know you point out things like it's like Joker scenario where she's like worst case scenarios.
Yeah. Like she's the woman with the worst luck in the universe. First off, and every man treats her like garbage until until she gets her hands on the Dreamstone, which is the MacGuffin of this thing, is where it just grants your wishes, but only one wish, except when it's not only one wish, and then it has consequences, except for when it doesn't. And she wishes to be more like Diana, so she becomes, beautiful. In that it's like it's Kristen Wiig. Kristen Wiig, you wouldn't kick her out of bed, but no, she's not a supermodel. But now all of a sudden, because she made that wish, even though she looks the same, but does her hair a little bit different and has a little bit different makeup, suddenly she's the object of everyone's affections.
Yeah.
And she gets some of Wonder Woman's powers just because accidental. She didn't realize that Diana was Wonder Woman.
Yeah. So again, that was a neat little part of it. That at least helps explain more why she's able to go toe to toe with Wonder Woman. Because otherwise, Cheetah's a very silly character. Mm-hmm. She's just a cat person.
Yeah.
I didn't want to see it cats. I don't want to see it here.
Yep.
So that's fine. I accept that part. I like her, her mental degradation. Again, very coincidentally, she comes across the same drunk asshole who's still drunk.
Yep.
At another place. It just happens to be able to come beat
What
on
does
him
he
for a
do
bit.
for a living? He's not homeless. He's wearing normal clothes.
He's wearing a suit and a duster.
Yeah.
He's just running around with a fucking quarter, with a fucking quart in a brown bag. He's just fucking chilling in bushes and shit.
Yeah.
Bruh. It just doesn't make any damn sense. But and again, it's fine. I get what they're going for.
They need a rapey 80s antagonist.
Yeah. He's just there. I think was he one of the guys from the Tick show? I think he was one of the Boston brothers.
Could have been.
With the
I don't remember enough about the Tick show, to be honest with you. Loved it. Thought it was great. And my brain is so full of shit that it just surfaces at random times.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the biggest sin is that fucking horrible fucking makeup job and CG job.
Yeah.
Again, one, colors, nothing like a cheetah. She's like she's grayscale.
Yeah.
The entire time she's in her cheetah form, which she gets after making another wish with her pager, which she shouldn't have been able to because technically it's still
She
the
already
stone.
made the wish.
Yeah, the pager gives her another wish. All right, okay, sure. I guess technically it's not the same stone anymore. Now it's well, whatever. Fine, let's explain it away. Sure, I don't care. It's just an excuse to make her a cat.
You only get one wish, except for when you don't.
Yeah.
There's consequences except for when there aren't.
And so she turns to a cheetah, and like at that point, Wonder Woman showed up in that like crazy like armor from Asteria.
Asteria.
Yeah. And
The Golden Eagle armor.
yeah,
Yeah.
looks cool. But then this chick just tears it apart like nobody's business.
Like she just wails on it and
Yeah.
like knocks it around and everything.
Like
And
she's not even using vibranium claws. She just has like normal ass claws, like organic claws, and she just tearing that shit apart with ease.
Yep. I will say that the suit itself looked cool as shit, and they did do like a great job of making it where like the wings were like part of a defense system and like formed around her to block out things, and then also worked as her flight and did like a lot of different crazy stuff going on with it. It was cool. Like I think it was visually realized very well, even though Cheetah was not. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe they blew all the budget on the Golden Eagle suit.
Well,
So, like, I was watching a video the other day on Get in the Robot, and I wish I could remember what the thing was called. But there's an actual Japanese word for it. It talks about that moment in anime when you know the animation gets really good, like very fluid and very cool looking and all this. And they referenced it as when the budget hits. But I'm thinking we may have had a situation like that there. Like
I can't imagine that's what it was. 'Cause they threw a lot of money at a lot of shit.
yeah, and the other thing is like this is only a 4-actor movie, really. Like it's only Pedro Pascal, Kristen Wiig, Chris Pine, and Gal Gadot.
Yep.
Like there are other actors in it, but none of them are like featured. None of them have massive roles in the movie.
None of them are even really known actors.
Yeah,
Like some guys from other things. But nobody's like a well-known established actor.
no, even that
Nobody
Martin
that
Sheen
nobody that
knockoff.
carries. Yeah, nobody. Yeah, again, we're in the '80s or '84. You have one of the most recognizable presidents of the 20th century,
Yeah.
and you go with a Martin Sheen knockoff instead of Ronald Reagan.
Well,
It makes no sense. Like he even showed up in other DC comics.
mommy.
It just makes no damn sense. But, yeah, Cheetah was
Is
definitely
Mike Pence the 2020 version of Ronald Reagan? Older?
And the sad thing is, like, they showed that early on in the trailers, and it never got any better.
No.
They had all this time off to work on it, and I made my complaints from early on that I hated how it looked.
Yeah, it did look pretty bad. Especially like the scene that they chose to highlight, where she like grabs her and like whips her around and then throws her on the ground. It looked bad.
Yeah.
Like it looked.
It's bad
Piss poor
choreography.
animation.
It's bad
Yeah.
choreography, bad animation. Her design is terrible, and again, like you're pointing out, like she has like face paint. Mm-hmm. It's like bad face paint.
It looks like it looks like she stopped off at the fair.
Yeah, she has like lines and triangles on her face.
Squigglies and like it's like
Just weird shit. Like this is not what a
look
cat
like
looks
a
like.
cheetah. Like that's not organic. Like I think she just thought it.
Yeah.
She's like, hey,
And her-
this will make me look more cat-like.
And her face is super long.
Yeah.
It's just none of it made sense. And then like that fight where
If
like
she walked into a bar, the bartender would assume she was a horse.
boom. And like they
I
fight for a
reverse
minute.
engineered that joke.
And like they fight for a minute. They fight for a minute, but then like most of that fight takes place while they're dangling from the lasso or from something.
Yeah.
Swinging around for like a solid minute and a half.
Bad.
They're just spinning around for a solid minute and a half, doing nothing.
And they didn't take the opportunity to play "You Spin Me Right Round, Baby, Right Round."
No, and I didn't get into that. There's no music in this
Oh
movie.
no, there's no
no
80s
music.
music for sure.
There's
There's score.
score. This movie is full of score.
Yep.
Very little of it scores, but there's a lot of score in this movie. There's no actual 80s songs.
Stay off my fucking territory.
Like how do you advertise this? Is like they advertise it hard with Blue Monday.
Yeah.
And then do no 80s music. Oh, I'm sorry. Could you not find a good song from the early 80s? Fucking assholes.
Listen, regardless of whether you pick good songs or not, the 80s is probably one of the most distinctly, like, sonically distinct eras.
Not one goddamn synthesizer in the whole
Like-
goddamn movie.
Like, even, okay, you look at things like the 20s and the 50s where, like, audio-wise, they have a distinct sound, but it's because of the recording limitations. And even the 70s where, like, the distortion on the guitar, like, is very unique, but it can be translated across multiple things. But that specific type of thing where synthesizers were new, and even like electronic drums and things like that were new, and people were experimenting with it, it permeated every single fucking song in that era. And even the recording styles were of a similar variety. Like, that is probably sonically the most distinct era in music. And they did nothing with that. Like, that sucks. You don't fucking name your movie 1984, Wonder Woman 1984, and then not do that. Especially because it's Wonder Woman. Like, she's already, like, linked in with this whole, like, the fashion and the music scene of that time anyways. I guess the less we say about biker chick Wonder Woman, the better. But, yeah, I don't know. It was pretty weak. I didn't hate it as much as you did. Because
Again-
I'm not a chauvinist, Paul.
Again, hating Wonder Woman would mean that there is something to hate.
Yeah.
It's just there.
Yeah. It was fine. That's and the problem is it's Wonder Woman. It shouldn't be just fine.
Yeah.
Like, this is one of the three biggest characters that DC has. Probably one of the top 10 most recognizable characters in the world.
You want to hear a bigger sin out of all this?
I do.
While this movie, so they establish again. It can be very generic when this movie takes place, but they establish during the scene where the pilot from the 1912 pilots a fighter jet in 1984 that it's Independence Day, it's
Yep.
4th of July. The top songs in the country at that time,
Yep.
Time After Time by Cyndi Lauper,
Oh, man. That's a classic.
The Reflex by Duran Duran, and oh yeah, When Doves Cry. And then nothing. Are you fucking Footloose, Jump, Karma Chameleon? Like, that year alone, you could go with a bunch of songs.
I mean, well, you especially talk about Jump, like, for a band that is known for their fucking screaming electric guitars.
Yeah.
It is the most prolific use of the synthesizers in their song.
Yeah. Like, there are plenty of traditional rock groups, R&B, whatever Prince is.
Yep.
Plenty of new wave that you could have brought over. Like, but no, nothing. You brought nothing to the table. It's like, 'cause here's the thing. I would have enjoyed it a lot more, at least if I would have been like fooled in nostalgia by all the fun songs. It's happened before with other movies.
Yep.
Fool me, trick me, use that shit against me.
You know what the problem is? Fucking Suicide Squad.
Maybe.
I think they overcorrect. DC
Maybe.
fucking overcorrects so hardcore, and absolutely, Suicide Squad probably put them in this mode where they're like, we can't do that anymore. We can't. Like, hell, even looking back, you know, to a lesser extent, the original Wonder Woman could have had a lot of, you know, 1930s, 1920s music. I guess not 1930s, I suppose, but 1920s music involved in it. You know what I mean? Like, there are, for example, just the way that they ended Endgame with "Until We Meet Again," like, that song is iconic from that era. There are songs that existed at those times that you could reference, that you could play, that they just never did. I think that they certainly, I think that's exactly what it is. Suicide Squad made them overcorrect and, like, we can't do this. We can't use all these different songs. We can't use all these licensed songs. It's a problem. It doesn't work, yada, yada, yada. And they didn't realize that the issue that they had was that they used too much and they didn't use it effectively.
Yep.
So,
Location.
you could have absolutely used that. Like that scene, again, spoilers, where, you know, Wonder Woman realizes that she has to give up Steve, and she whips away and she learns to fly. Imagine that scene if as soon as she turns around and starts running away, and almost, you know, as she bounds in the air, you hear the synthesizer to jump. Might as well jump.
Hold on. Probably not the movie they were going for at that point, but I gotcha. But yeah,
funny.
so again, the
I know,
villains,
but funny, huh?
but again, the villains weren't used properly. And again, like their end fights are laughable. And again, granted, like not that she can just punch Maxwell Lord and be over with it.
Yeah.
But I think it was just done very weakly. The way she like
Yeah.
appeals to the world, and again, all this. Okay,
Lend me your energy.
so let's suspend belief. Sure, they have technology in 1984 that can override all monitors around the world.
Yep.
Sure, let's say that exists. This guy talks to the entire world. Again, at that point, let's be generous. Half the world
Yep.
understands him. You still have most of Asia, South America, a lot of countries that have no idea what the fuck this guy's talking
Okay.
about. Again, like the world wasn't quite as open then as it is now. Like Japan was just really getting back into expanding relations. China sure as hell wasn't being very proactive about it. Russia wasn't trying to learn English, other than the people who were coming over to to spy.
Peevil.
Again, you have the Spanish-speaking world, most of the Asian world, like very limited English understanding, and yet the entire world is giving giving wishes or getting wishes.
Yep.
It's very silly, and again, Wonder Woman just appeals to them
Yeah.
off camera. Like it's fine, but I mean, again, at that point, that was the least of my concerns in this movie.
Well, so Wonder Woman's thing has always been that, like, she can do all the same stuff that Superman does, but her power is more to inspire and to lead than it is to just punch things into oblivion. Her power is that she has the power of love. You know, she's. So I get ending the movie with that, ending the conflict with that, but I agree that the way that they did it was a little lackluster, and even beyond that, obviously full of the plot holes of what you're talking about, exactly what you're talking about. But even beyond that, it was contrived because they had to spend that bit earlier, where she put the lasso of truth around Steve to show him the story, the bit of the word I'm looking for. When you tell what's going on. Exposition. The bit of exposition that needed to happen. Like, that's how they set up that whole thing. A very throwaway scene that didn't really contribute anything to the story, and then that's why she's able to snake the lasso around Maxwell Lord and show him the future of him continuing to do all these wishes is going to cost him his son, and it's going to cost him this, and that's what turns him away.
Well, I said, I think for this part, I think to talk about Steve and Diana, you almost have to talk about them together.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, Steve, outside of that flying, outside of him magically flying a fighter jet, he has nothing to do with this movie.
Contributes
He's
nothing.
just there.
Yep.
And that's a fucking sin. Like, again, not that I think Chris Pine is a great actor. He's fine.
Yep.
But
He vacillated a lot of times in this movie between looking old as fuck and not.
yeah, he like starts off with like kind of grayish hair.
Yeah.
It's weird.
And it's
Yet
like,
he's
okay.
in a guy with black hair. It's just
Yeah.
weird.
And
Go ahead.
he's supposed to be in his 20s at this point, I would assume. Like, obviously he's
20s
dead, but,
probably,
but yeah, 20s is probably when he was in the service.
So yeah, maybe early 30s at latest.
Yeah. Like, he shouldn't be Reed Richardsing.
And again, I'm not. I have a lot of problems with again how they handled his resurrection.
Yes.
I think you probably actually have a bigger problem with it than I do. My problem with it is how easily Diana's like, oh, my dead boyfriend from 65 years ago is in the body of another person.
Yeah.
I'm good. Well, again, that's
Again,
like,
it's been 50 years since she's got
Yeah.
since anybody's rung her bell. So
yeah. So I said, in that part, that's not even getting to the idea that like, why?
she's like, this is the closest I'm gonna get.
Yeah, it's just like a random person across town in the same like. And honestly, even with the monkey spot, it would have been funnier if it was like a person in a different country.
Yeah.
She's just like in a random. He's in a random
He's
body.
back, but yeah.
Yeah, he's in like fucking like Egypt or something like that, or some fucking like just a fucking random ass place.
Again, that touches on like the monkey's paw logic of it. Is like it affects it comes at a cost unless it doesn't, or apparently in this case, unless it does doubly, because not only is it her boyfriend's back, but he's not himself, not in his own body, but also she's losing her powers.
Yeah,
Like, wait a minute. So resurrecting Steve Trevor cost twice as much as like creating nukes out of nowhere, or like.
Well, and that's the thing too is like. She,
and what did Kristen Wiig
that's the thing.
pay for her original
and,
wish?
And that's the worst part. Like with her, okay, and again, okay, this is a two-parter. Her quote unquote losing her power. Again, she's still pushing trucks around.
Yep.
She's still doing everything. She just now is, I guess, more bullet prone. But again, like she was never proven to be bulletproof.
Yeah.
She was still like.
And most of the time in the comics and stuff, she's not.
She's not.
She's not supposed to be. She's immortal. She's not invulnerable.
She gets tired quicker, I guess.
Yeah.
But again, like dead ass. If there were no if she did not lose her powers, or if she didn't have to deal with Maxwell Lord.
Yep.
She would have still kept Steve, and that person still would have been trapped inside that body.
Yep.
Like that's fucked
Person's
up.
life just done.
Diana doesn't give a fuck
done.
about that, and then just nonchalantly sees the guy at the end of the movie and is like, "Sup?"
Yep.
Like, bitch, you kept that motherfucker hostage.
Yeah.
Like you were gonna fuck this guy's body without his consent. Like,
Yeah.
this is some fucking like dirty ass shit she's doing.
And then she has the nerve to fucking lie to him and tell him that his look is good. Like he don't look like a pirate.
Is that bad?
I guess not.
But yeah, it was just she was on, and honestly,
Rewind time here. Say that again.
is something wrong with looking like a pirate?
Yar.
And yeah, and I honestly, I think the sad part is I think with this Wonder Woman, everything she does contradicts both either the movie before it or the movie after it. So
Yeah.
either it contradicts Wonder Woman or it contradicts BVS and Justice League.
Yeah.
So she, again, one, is very clearly a dozen times in her fucking costume,
Yep.
despite the fact that Batman says, you hid from the world. She admits, I hid from the world for 100 years. Bitch, you didn't.
Nope.
And there's no sign that she didn't use her costume before. Like, there's nothing, no catalyst that she's like, I need to get back in the world. She's just, like, doing shit.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, is not, like, super, like, subtle about it. Like, that's not a subtle fucking costume.
But she knocked out some video cameras with her tiara.
Ugh. While in the middle of a
And then
full,
said shh to a little girl.
while in the middle of a full, busy-ass mall.
Yep.
Does that. So, again, breaks that part. At one point, she learns to fly,
Yep.
which, pretty sure, shows no signs of that in BVS or Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
She's still fucking riding fucking the Batwing everywhere.
Yep.
Not a euphemism.
Well, a bit. Listen.
And then and then is able to make shit invisible and never does that shit again.
Yep. Well, I really want to make a meme out of seeing Gal Gadot with a coffee cup, like, but not with a coffee cup, but like holding something up to her mouth and say, "Just Wonder Woman drinking her coffee." But the thing of it is all of that. I give the riding the Batwing around and everything like that because you want to transport everybody at the same time. Like, yeah, you can fly, 100 miles an hour or whatever, but, technically, Superman and Wonder Woman could do it, but Cyborg would more or less be left behind, and Batman would be left behind, and they wouldn't have to coordinate. Listen, it's I get
just
that.
An example, just an example. I'm just saying. You're getting stuck in minutia.
I know. Anyways.
We're at an hour and a half now. Let's just keep it rolling.
Yeah, I don't know.
A lot of things are introduced in this thing that she never uses again,
Yeah.
and it's infuriating. They just ruin they break their own continuity.
Like, is the armor just useless now because it lost a few feathers?
Basically,
Like, can it not be Did they ever explain where she got it?
they really quickly. She's like, "Oh, I found it." Whatever. She basically, I think what they're trying to say is that she found it over time.
Yeah.
Around the world and got it back together. So she's like has it in tarps leaning against a wall in her apartment.
Yeah.
Okay, Diana, cool.
Yeah. I feel like something like that should be like repairable or like regeneratable. Like you can get more of the feathers or something like that.
I think it would be if she was able to go to Themyscira.
I guess so.
But she's either banned or doesn't know where it is, and maybe that's the reason why
They established that in the first one. Like once she leaves, she's not able to come back. But
I think it's more like but again, it's very vague. It's one of those things where it's like they said that also in like the comics and in the show, but I think it was more of like a once you leave, I don't want you to come back.
yeah,
It's more of a want than it is like a physically able to. Because I mean, like those Nazis get in there pretty quick, or whatever. Fucking the Germans get in there pretty easily.
yeah.
So I don't see why she wouldn't be able to. Like, what is there now a barrier?
Oh,
Like,
Germans are Nazis. You racist.
close enough. You might cross the crowd.
Certainly, we're Nazi juniors.
But I think worse because this one demanded a lot more of Diana. It really shows the limitations of Gal Gadot.
Yeah.
She like the thing we talked about before, is really more style over substance.
Yep. I think she can do better. I just think that she may be interpreting Wonder Woman as more, exactly like you said, style over substance. She's a human being with the ability to emote multiple ranges of emotion. She just hasn't shown it in this role particularly.
I will admit she's a human.
Yep.
But like again, like that scene where she's like giving the impassioned speech to the world would have come across a lot better from a better actor or somebody with a better command of the English language.
Yeah.
Because again, like her accent really holds her back. I mean, I hate to say that, but she can't properly deliver the lines
Yeah.
that really would have make it stick.
I like her accent because she shouldn't sound American.
I'm fine with that.
She should have a Greek/Mediterranean accent. Like she's a Greek goddess, more or less. You know, an analog for a Greek goddess. She was raised on an island of females who were, from the Greek pantheon. There's an actual real life equivalent to this, where like there's a family or a group of people who were like more or less separated on a different island, and they kind of developed whatever speech patterns they had at the time. That's just how they talked. Like they they didn't adapt and change because it was never demanded of them. So if that was the case, she would still sound very Greek.
Like I said, and I'm fine with the accent. Like I'm definitely not saying she should have no accent.
Yeah.
Because again, like if you're on a place for 100 or 1,000 years, yeah, you're not going to lose that after just 60 or 70 years.
Nope.
That being said, it's very clear she just can't deliver. It just doesn't have the delivery. Again, whether it's a combination, I think it's a combination of both her limitations as an actress,
Yeah.
her understanding of the English language, and her capability of delivering certain words.
Yeah.
So I think they have to write around how she's able to deliver them.
I suppose.
Because I mean, it's just like a great speech would have saved that moment.
Yeah.
And Wonder Woman is built for great speeches.
Absolutely.
It just fell soft. It just fell. It just didn't land.
It impacted on the surface but did not go in. Yeah. And that's kind of an issue there when you have, even like for lack of a better term, all this build up leading up to it, because they threw out some grand concepts. They threw out a lot of grand concepts and just it completely fell flat. And the logic of it was just not there. And I know, we are if nothing else pedants, but at the same time, your logic should make sense in your own world, and it didn't. Like,
A lot things happen just to happen.
Yep.
Things happen either to look cool or to progress the story.
Kristen Wiig runs into the same drunk rapist.
And honestly, the only reason they do that is so that we feel just. And again, that's the weird part too. What they really should have done to make more sense for the character, because what that was supposed to be, her giving into her darker, the growing darkness inside of her.
Yep.
Really, she's justified in attacking this potential rapist.
Yep.
Who's trying to do it again.
Yep.
Now, if it was just another guy who was kind of drunk and like hitting on her,
Yep.
and then she beat the hell out of him, that would be a lot better for the character development.
Yep.
Because then when fucking Joe or whatever the homeless guy shows up and is like, Barbara, what are you doing?
Yep.
Like, that would make more sense. There she easily say, he tried to rape me
twice.
twice.
Like,
Then, oh, yeah, no, bet. No, keep going, buddy. Keep going.
yeah. Hold on, you want me to hold him? I'll get him in a full Nelson. You just work the ribs.
But yeah, they never knew what they wanted to do.
There was a tweet about that. I talked about it before with you, where it was like, basically there was a girl on Twitter. Obviously, that's where you tweet. She was like, there's a problem with Hollywood when the character attacking a man who tried to rape her twice is treated as a villain turn moment more than it is treated as the exact thing he deserves.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I get it. At that point, she's beaten the hell out of him, and she basically had completely dominated him. He was no longer a threat. Okay. Like,
but
she didn't go any farther. She didn't kill him. Like, at least we didn't show that she was killed him.
yeah.
Maybe she did.
And again, maybe it's because the homeless guy shows up. Maybe.
Yep.
But even still,
Yeah.
this guy clearly is this isn't his first or second time doing this.
No.
And he was super handsy in the park,
Yep.
like aggressive. So like again, Wonder Woman
she
has to
was-
punch him like 20 feet away.
Clearly communicable about her distaste,
Yeah.
not wanting to anything
Yeah,
to do
she
with
was
him.
very clear about her non-consent.
No meant no.
Yeah. So Wonder Woman punches him 20 feet away.
Yep.
Superhero moment. She punches him a few times and kicks him 10 feet.
Yep.
She's the villain.
Yep.
It's dumb.
Yep.
Sure, you can argue like the level to which she beats him,
Yeah.
but again,
Like,
she's the victim in this situation twice.
she shouldn't be flat out murdering him once she's clearly dealt with him. I get that. But at the same time,
I get it.
yeah, I get it. I get why she would, and why it wouldn't really be all that bad if she did. But I don't know.
But yeah, they couldn't commit. And
That's
it
the
just
difference between a
ends up-
hero and an anti-hero is what that is. It's not the difference between a hero and a villain.
Yeah,
Like,
but like I said, the movie was boring. It couldn't commit to anything, and there was no character development. If anything, it was character undeveloped.
Regression?
Regression.
yeah.
It was character regression for numerous characters. Like the only one that like was fairly consistent was Steve Trevor.
Yep.
And again, the only reason why he was kind of useless was because again he's in a world
The reason-
70 years later.
The only reason that he was consistent is because he's dead.
But
Yeah, like, of course he's not. He's the only one who. Yeah, wow. The only character who was worth a damn in the movie was the dead one. Was the literal dead character.
yeah, yeah. Because again, otherwise, if he didn't like force her to do it, otherwise she would have just kept him around.
Yep.
Like this all falls apart.
She's like, I don't see a problem with this. If there were no consequences, there obviously there were the consequences that we're alluding to, but she's like, if there were no outside like larger consequences with her losing her powers, which I don't think that bothered her that much, honestly, but and B, Maxwell Lord taking over the world and well, not even taking over, just destroying the world.
Yeah, because he's doing it en masse. If he had just done it a little bit at a time, if he would have gone under the radar, she wouldn't have given a shit.
Yeah.
Like some people would try to stop him, but like he's, you know what? I'm gonna go see the president and just take over the world.
Yeah.
Like it's very like it goes very like Saturday morning cartoon very quickly.
Yes.
And they took too long to start showing him like physically like taking the toll of making all these wishes.
Yeah.
And it's whatever. But again, it's just the bigger they commit to nothing.
How did he get better too? Like
Later on,
like after he's granting everybody's wishes, like he talked about it. It was like, if I have to replace my organ, my body organ by organ, but he couldn't make any more wishes. How is he getting his organs replaced? Like he looked healthy again.
it would be, I grant your wish, but I take your liver.
I guess
or I
so.
grant your wish, but I take your lung.
Didn't think about it that way,
Yeah,
but
it
yeah.
would just be one of those.
Yep.
Or I take, whatever, however he's going to call it. But yeah, he would basically like shit like that.
Yep.
Which again, like, I don't know how that would work. Like, would you just be like instant pop surgery, or just like it just like instantly shows him in your butt? Whatever. Again, I'm not trying to like. That's already like at that point, like all logic's out the window. We're just along for
There
the
are
ride.
consequences unless there aren't. It's like
We're just along for the ride at that point.
yeah. It's a shame. Patty Jenkins showed a lot of promise.
Yeah, but I think in the first one there were a lot, and again, not that I hate to fucking say this, but there was a lot more feedback from like the Snyders and like the other ones who played a role in it, which is again why there's a lot more dark tones in the first one. But
So what you're saying is Snyder came in and said, "Yeah, but what if?"
but I think this one being left to their own device, and again, I don't know who. I didn't look to see who the writers were. All I know is that she did play a bigger part in the story.
Yeah.
On this one, and unfortunately, it shows.
Yeah.
Because I feel like this one was more or less left to them to do what they wanted. I don't, as far as I remember hearing, there wasn't a whole lot of studio
Interference.
from this one.
Yeah.
So
In fact, I kind of heard the opposite. Is like the one that I read is that the studio wanted to change the intro scene, the beginning with her in the Amazonia Olympics, and she basically was like, no, she planted her feet on that one, which, to be honest with you, I could respect if it went anywhere,
Yep.
but it never played another part in the
Nope.
story.
It was literally just to introduce Atreyu, or whatever the hell her name is.
Yes.
One chick, which they don't pay off until
Atreides.
she gets the armor.
Atreides.
And then the mid-credit scene, which dead ass. When I saw that scene, I'm like, oh, they have no plans to make a third one. Okay, that's fine.
Yep.
You want to go ahead and go to that real quick before we end this?
So right at the very end there, we follow a mysterious figure walking through some sort of European, Parisian, Italian marketplace. Very, very European structures and whatnot. Perhaps Greece. And this crowded marketplace. And then you hear a bunch of people kind of panicking and this and that, and you hear like a snapping cable or something sound, and you see this pillar fall, and as we're going through this marketplace, you see this woman in a dress walking, and she just puts her hand up and grabs the pillar and stops it before it hits this woman and her baby. And she says, "Oh my God!" The lady says, "Oh my God, thank you so much. You saved my baby. How did you do that?" And in a callback to one of the original moments in the film, where Diana, when she was saving Kristen Wiig from the rapist, says, she doesn't know she has powers yet. So after she kicks the guy 20 feet away, she says, "It's just due to a simple shift of weight," and yada yada yada. So she says that line, but as she turns around to say this line, you realize, who is it? None other than Linda Carter. And
I mean, for us old heads, I think we do right away.
yeah, oh yeah, no, absolutely. I am surprised I didn't realize when they showed her eyes when they were telling the story of her, because Linda Carter has very recognizable eyes. But she says, "My name is Asteria, and I've been doing this for a long time," and then smash cut to black. So
Sidebar: she has an American accent. But go ahead.
yeah, Linda Carter's American. So
Atreyu isn't. Or Asteria or whatever.
Atreides, Assalamu alaikum, isn't? Yeah.
But yeah, when I saw that, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
so they're not making a third one. Yeah, they're like, fuck it, let's just do this. It's a fun little throwaway thing.
Yeah.
No problem. Let's move on. I'm like, huh?
Well,
Then fucking immediately after, like the next day, I think they announced Wonder Woman 3.
yeah.
I'm like, why?
I mean, that's no worse than was it at the end of Homecoming, where Captain America sits at the chair and he goes, "You ever stick around for something really long time and never?" I forget exactly how it goes. It was like, and it never really leads to anything. And then they just end it like that. That's more of a ridiculous thing. Admittedly, it's from a more ridiculous movie, but it's no worse of a end credit sequence than that. Also, this is the first time that they've had kind of an end credit sequence, isn't it?
In Wonder Woman?
In any of the DC movies, they don't really have end credit sequence. Their whole thing is
Shazam, dude.
yeah, but that was a throwaway. I guess this one was too.
Good throwaway.
It's a
Yeah,
good
they're all
throwaway.
throwaways.
I like the one that was released.
BVS had one.
Huh?
BVS had one.
Oh yeah, that's right. They had the Deathstroke thing. So I take it all back. Shut up, Ringo. I will say, I like the the post-release one where they did it, whether it was on YouTube or whatever they did it, where they when they did the thing where they cut to Henry Cavill, not Henry Cavill, whatever, in the Superman thing, and then they zoom out and his neck is 20 feet long. That's funny.
So,
Oh my god!
So, I very much am down on this movie. I don't think it's the worst DC movie. It's still ahead of Justice League.
I still put it in top 4.
It's where you and I differ. I will put Man of Steel above this one. Because at least Man of Steel had one clear. I may not agree with the message, but at least it had one clear message throughout the entire thing.
Yeah.
This one was just all over the place and just hoping for the best.
Yeah.
And listen, to be positive, I look forward to the Batman. I look forward to the Suicide Squad.
The Suicide Squad I look forward to.
If they ever make the Flash movie, maybe that'll be good.
If they make good on the promise that the trailer has made for the Batman, I think it'll be pretty good. But I don't know if that's going to happen because historically, I think DC, when they do good trailers, it's for bad movies. And when they do like either very quiet or very subdued trailers, it's usually for good movies or trailers that don't necessarily make a lot of noise.
Could be. I mean,
I think they when they know they have a stinker on their hands, they up the marketing.
I don't know.
Tell me, do you bleed?
The only thing I'll say with Batman is that it's much easier to make a good Batman movie.
I agree. Must be why they're going to make double them.
So, because I think like they're doing it from a more of a year one, year two mindset. So it's a lot more toned down. So you're not having to worry about these epic fight scenes, these like world changing events. It's just one guy in a suit fighting some assholes.
Yeah.
So again, whether it's between Edward Nigma or whatever the hell his name is. I forget. I think was that his actual name in the movie?
It was Edward Nigma is his name, but it's just the way you said it. It sounded like you said N-word Nigma.
I mean, yeah.
I think you got a little bit of a congestion thing going on there, but
And
coronavirus.
Cobblepot. I like Colin Farrell.
Yep.
Even in that dog shit fucking Daredevil movie, I enjoyed him in that.
Yeah.
So I haven't not liked him. He was
never miss.
He was delightful in Bruges.
He was wonderful in Bruges.
So, which I'm being told is a Christmas movie or a Thanksgiving movie. I forget the hell it
I
was.
think it's Christmas. Yeah.
Christmas movie. I'm being told by a reliable source online.
An interesting movie, worth a watch.
Yeah. But I think it's one of those movies that even just the cast alone already looks pretty good. And because it is a Batman movie, it's a lot more. Again, it's gonna be more gangster focused, more again low. Like it's very low, not necessarily low stakes, but it's not world stakes.
Yeah.
It's neighborhood,
More
city
personable.
stakes. Yeah, it's a lot smaller scale, so you can take your time with things.
Yeah.
You're not having to worry about getting to fucking Egypt and back.
It's somewhere between the Long Halloween and Year One, from my understanding.
Yeah, sounds right.
Yeah.
So again, it's a lot easier to make that kind of movie than to make like a Superman movie or to make a Wonder Woman movie.
Touch of Hush, which could go poorly.
But regardless, again, I'm sure it'll be probably some version of an original story. It'll take ideas from other things, but it's gonna be more or less their thing they're making. Because I mean, granted, not that there wasn't a lot of overlap between Cobblepot and the Riddler, but
Well, depends on which versions you do of either one. Obviously, with the bit more straight up crime focused version of Cobblepot, and less the actual like quote unquote supervillain, like where he's a mob boss, but he's funny looking and he's got a penchant for umbrellas.
yeah, I mean that was always the better version. I mean that was the better version. They've leaned on a lot more the last decade or so.
Yeah.
And I think that comes across a lot better.
The Arkham City version of him, basically, where he's just basically is a cockney prick, who has a fucking bottle end stuck in his eye. I want to know that story. Like instead of a fucking a monocle, he's got like the end of a bottle that's been jammed into his head. Like that's cool.
My man.
Yep. But so there's potential. I hope it's good. Rabat Battenbat, fine actor. To be honest with you, he's good in a lot of stuff. He's not just the sparkly vampire boy.
Well, he's been on a good run.
Yep. I've recently come around on Kristen Stewart too. I saw her in Underwater, and she was phenomenal in that. That was a really good movie. Apparently very slept on, but it was really good. If you like the Alien franchise and you want to see a version of that underwater, and more so than like The Abyss, it was excellent, and it's very much a Lovecraft movie. where like even the director says like it basically features Cthulhu. Um, spoilers, but she was fantastic in it. She played a really great character in it. I've completely come around on her because of that one movie where I'm like, wow, she can handle her shit. Like, but I don't know. Maybe they'll put her in something. Maybe she'll be Batgirl.
Sure, man. Sure.
Can't wait for Thor: Love and Thunder.
Can't wait for movies.
They've confirmed that Christian Bale is going to be Gore.
Al Gore?
Gore the God Butcher.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. I could see him really doing a great job in that role. A, just because he's Christian Bale. And B, because you saw him in The Machinist where he has this very gaunt figure. Like, he can ride that line between being beefy and being very lean and mean. And Gore was supposed to be this kind of lean, mean, just like looking like he's a angry sort of character. Especially because in the comics, he's basically got a vendetta against all the gods.
Who doesn't?
And apparently they will have 3 different versions of Thor. So more than likely it's gonna take up that storyline, which it wasn't called Gore the God Butcher, was it?
Fuck, what was it called? I forget what it was called now.
But
Yeah,
it's a good storyline. Yeah. I wonder if they're going to go completely out of left field and have it like literally take place at, more or less the end of time.
Probably won't go that far.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot to explain, and they will probably want to stay away from time travel for a while.
Yeah.
I'll leave that to the Ant-Mans of the world.
Yep. Quantumania. Excited for Kang. Interesting side note. We kind of already touched on it with Jonathan Majors being Kang. Leads the possibility of Reed Richards being portrayed by a black actor. Interesting enough to me. Just change him from the standard, smug douchebag white guy nerd to somebody who is a non, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Cliche character. Like, that's one step to take. Could put him in any ethnicity, I suppose, but the fact that it probably means they're going to change it, they're going to break away a little bit, which Reed Richards is interesting as an intelligent character who has all this other, this God complex sort of thing going on. But this standard idea of the professor needs a bit of an update.
They've had the update. It's just that nobody reads Fantastic Four. That's why I got shut down. Well, it's part of the reason why I got shut down for a few years. That and Fox owning the rights to the movies. Fantastic Four has had very weak sales ever since the 90s.
Yeah.
And they have done a great job of making him as like a super asshole.
Yeah.
Between the Illuminati, the Council of Reeds, his part in a lot of the fucking like major events that have happened. Even with Civil War, like he's all on board for like throwing superheroes in prison. Yeah. Like building a whole fucking prison in the negative zone.
Yep.
So no, they definitely because again he more aggressively than the other like futurists and the other scientists cares more about progress than literally anything else.
He's a hyper progressive conservative.
All right.
Which it plays very well. If you think about it, there's a great amount of potential in that idea for a character who's simultaneously good, but also causes a lot of bad inadvertently.
Yeah.
Which is a great way to look at his character. Like, he's responsible for a lot of the things that he does, but he's also responsible for cleaning up the messes that he makes. And his family is there to make sure he doesn't step over that line and just completely forget about other human beings existing. So, I don't know. Off topic. So, long story short, I hope the Batman's good. Wonder Woman 84 was not particularly good. I didn't think it was awful. Mandalorian was fantastic. I don't know what else we can go for. That's pretty much it.
That's it, man. Yeah, I think 2 hours is a good time to stop.
Too much. We both had very strong opinions about Wonder Woman 84, though. So
This wasn't good.
no. All right. Well, for this one last podcast, I've been Ryan B. Online, and you've been P. Breezy.
Yeah, still there.
Still there. And go to brightswimmer.com and use our code TWL25.
Yeah.
Also, watch my thing. This won't last call, and watch Dee's thing.
Yeah, watch their
Happy Good
thing.
Morning. Watch our things. Visit us on the things social media.
We are nailing this.
We're absolutely nailing this.
And remember, guys, have a happy, safe New Year. Mm-hmm. And at midnight, scream Jumanji.
Jumanji. Macaroni in the pot.